Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? We got the MLB Draft right around the corner. So let's do a mock draft tonight. Hello everyone. What is going on? No intro here for tonight. We're going to dive into our mock draft for tonight. I am quite excited. It is draft season. Last season's draft, man oh man, it was quite fun. I'm not going to lie. The Red Sox getting Marcelo Meyer, Henry Davis going number 1 overall. That was a really fun draft, and I'm equally as excited for this year's draft as well. Just a heads up, we will be live for the draft. I will be reacting to every single pick, and we're going to have just a good old time. So make sure Sunday night you come onto my channel. We're going to watch it all together. Hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone is having a good week so far. We went live last night, myself and Josh of Baseball Trade Values. If you did not see that stream, we talked for about 2 hours. All the trade news and rumors that you could want. So if you haven't watched it, make sure you go check it out later on. But for tonight, we will be doing our mock draft. I'm just going to run through every team, and I'm going to pick the players that I think would be the best fits for these teams. I kind of have my own little ranking system. I'm not saying these are necessarily predictions for the draft. I mean, maybe a little bit, but these are kind of just based off of how I feel about basically what the teams should do with these players in the draft. So I guess maybe take it a little bit as predictions, but it's also my own personal feelings mixed in with it as well. And I've also kind of just looked at how teams have drafted in the past. And, yeah, kind of just looked at everything. And probably I'm going to get these all wrong, to be completely honest. But I'm just going to go with my gut here. I looked at some info. I did a little bit of research. I'm not, a scout by any means. But I read as many scouting reports as I can. And I've been dabbling with these players and so on. So I'll give it my best shot for tonight. I'm seeing 100 people in the chat. Everyone, the goal for the likes tonight, I want to get to at least 100 likes. We got 104 people in the chat. I don't see why we only have 26 likes so far. Everyone, hit that like button for me. I want at least 100 likes by the 10th pick. Can we do it? By the 10th pick. All right. I'm not going to waste any more time here. I'm going to kind of roll through this. I'm going to get into it because I want people that are not able to come in tonight live when they are rewatching this. I don't want this to go on too long. I thought about pre-recording this and editing it, but you know what? I just like going live. It's a little easier as well for me. So, but I am just going to kind of roll through it. Any super chats, definitely feel free to drop them in. I'll read them as we go. I'm already seeing one coming in from Tom Amiano. Also, I got another super chat coming in from Conman752. And there's Tom Amiano right here. Robbie, loving the weekly trade show. I know this is a mock, but I got a hot take. Sox trade for Lewis from the M's to replace Kike at center field. I wonder, man. I feel like the Mariners probably won't get rid of him. It's definitely out of the box kind of a solution. I mean, you never know with Hyde Bloom. You never know. But Tom Amiano, thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. Another super chat coming in. As excited as I am for the draft, man, oh man, I'm excited for the trade deadline as well. Conman752, as long as the O's take any of the top 4 high school prospects, I'm good. If they take Jacob Berry or Brooks Lee, I'll be livid. Oh boy. Well, we're not off to a great start tonight. Conman, I'm just saying. This is kind of where I look into teams' history as well. Mike Elias, he has a bit of a history with going under slot, and we'll have to see who I have going to the Orioles, but stay tuned. Thank you so much for the super chats to start off tonight's show. Let's get to it, everyone. Coming in at number 1, the Baltimore Orioles select Brooks Lee. I do like me some Brooks Lee. Conman752. I know you're livid already, but listen. If the Orioles end up taking Brooks Lee as an underslot kind of an option, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Brooks Lee is easily, I mean, obviously he's going to number 1 here, but he is just a phenomenal player. This guy is an impact kind of a guy. Let's pull up some video here. I got highlights of all these guys. I got highlights of all these guys. So, taking a look at Brooks Lee. Here we go. ESPN kind of coming in clutch here. Brooks Lee, man, I really like him a lot. He played for his dad at Cal Poly. Very good player, just has really good instincts, just a very polished player, very close to the major leagues. He won't be in the minor leagues for too long. His bat to ball skills are absolutely incredible. Amazing bat speed. There's just so much to like about him. He's more of a contact kind of a guy, but he has pop at the same time. It is just insane how good of a hitter this guy is. He's okay in the field as well. Plays a decent shortstop, but a lot of scouts think he could end up at third or second. But the way Mike Elias has operated in the past, I'm just going with it. You know what? This is a guy who has done this sort of a move. He did it with Heston Kjerstad. He did it last year in the draft as well with Colton Cowser. And don't forget, he did it with Carlos Correa years back with the Astros. So he likes to go under slot. If he feels like he can get himself a deal here, hey, if it's more money for the picks later on in the draft, that's the way he likes to operate. I think if you end up picking Brooks Lee, not necessarily a bad thing at all. This is a guy who was ranked number 1 at one point until some of these other amazing high school players started coming in. And speaking of amazing high school players, my favorite high school player will be coming in at number 2, going to the Arizona Diamondbacks. This might be a bit of a shocker to some people. I got a shock move here, but the Arizona Diamondbacks at number 2 pick Termarr Johnson. I love me some Termarr Johnson. Let's get to the highlights here. There is a lot to like with Termarr Johnson out of Mays High School in Georgia. This, to me, is, in my opinion, the best hitter in this draft, at least the best prep hitter in this draft. He's already incredibly advanced for his age. The way he can just get the bat on the ball at 18 years old is absolutely incredible. He can hit to all fields. He handles velocity extremely well. I really like me some Termarr Johnson. To me, he kind of gives me vibes in a way of Rafael Devers, just that impact bat from the left side. Defensively, yeah, he's probably going to end up at second. Could he end up maybe playing third down the road? We'll have to wait and see. But he's not a shortstop by any means. If he was a shortstop, this guy would be going number 1 overall, no doubt about that. But I really like Termarr Johnson a lot. I think the Diamondbacks, in my opinion, if I'm the Diamondbacks, I like this guy, man. He's just an impact hitter. I just really like the idea of having a Jordan Lawler and a Termarr Johnson up the middle for years to come. Those two bats in the lineup together, oh, forget about it. But there is definitely another way the Diamondbacks could go with this as well. In my mock draft, I have Termarr Johnson going number 2. So, going number 3. Some people say this is the best player in the draft by far, but I have the Texas Rangers at number 3 selecting Drew Jones. He falls into their laps. Oh man, Drew Jones, he's giving me those vibes of Marcelo Meyer from a year ago. Remember Marcelo Meyer was supposed to go number 1 to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then all of a sudden he fell to my Red Sox at number 4. I see the same thing happening with Drew Jones. I really do. I just think Termarr Johnson's bat is going to appease the Diamondbacks a little bit more than Drew Jones. I think Termarr Johnson, sure, the bat has a higher floor, but the fact that he's already so good with his hitting at 18 years old, I think the Diamondbacks are going to like that a little bit more than maybe the potential of a Drew Jones, where with him, not as much of a hit tool as a Termarr Johnson, but still a very good hit tool, has some power in there, but more known for his fielding, more known for his speed. In a way, kind of reminds me of Christian Pache, in a way, where he's an elite defender, very good speed, not quite there with the hitting. It's going to be interesting to see how Drew Jones handles hitting at a professional level, but there's still a lot to like with the bat as well. When he gets into one, man, oh man, he gets into one. He's got some power. There's a lot more power there. He's got good size as well. Still has a lot of room to fill out. Makes hard contact. He can drive the ball into the gaps. He can hit opposite field. But he does have a bit of a tendency. He does have a bit of a tendency to get on top of the ball. And that results for him so far in quite a few ground outs. You would like to see him put the ball more into the air a little bit more. So that is one thing that is holding Drew Jones back with that bat. But when it comes to the defense, this is a guy that could already probably go in the major leagues right now and be a defensive replacement in the 9th inning. That's how good this guy is. You can go out there, just go play some good defense already at a major league level. He is that good. But I would say right now, Termarr Johnson, in my opinion, I like the bat more. I just love that bat. I really do. I'm just enamored with him. To me, that Termarr Johnson's bat is just special. And if he can provide you solid defense up the middle at second base for years to come, I'm going to be okay with that. I'm more confident in Termarr Johnson's bat translating to the major league level than Drew Jones as of right now. Drew Jones can definitely get better. Drew Jones definitely has the higher ceiling, because obviously his defense and his speed are just phenomenal already. But I just like that bat with Termarr Johnson. That's just the way I feel about it. I'm always going to go with a guy that, sure, I love me some defense. I love a guy that can burn the bases. But when a guy is that good at hitting at 18 years old, it's hard for me to turn away from that, man. What can I say? I like a little offense. What can I say? But speaking of guys that are young, and speaking of guys that can produce some offense, how about the Pittsburgh Pirates coming in at number 4? At number 4, the Pittsburgh Pirates select Cam Collier. I like me some Cam Collier, man. He's a pretty underrated guy in this draft, and he is sneaking up leaderboards or draft ranking boards as of right now. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, man, they have been scouting him heavily. They have been connected with him, very much so. They like them some Cam Collier, man. This is a guy, he also has a very high ceiling. He left high school early. He went on to play in junior college at Chipola over in Florida. There is just a lot to like with him, man. And he has just such a nice, smooth, easy swing. Am I sharing the screen here? Am I sharing the screen? I am not sharing the screen. I apologize. Also, my stream right now is a little behind. I forgot to change the settings for the stream tonight, so I am a little behind. I'm not exactly real time. I'm probably like 20 seconds behind from what you guys are seeing. So keep that in mind. But Cam Collier, I have him coming in at number 4 here. There's just so much to like. A ton of ceiling with him. There's a lot to like. He's the youngest high school player, the youngest college player in this draft. He's one of the youngest players in this draft overall. But kind of like Termarr Johnson, he has a lot of bat already, a lot of good instincts with the bat. He's very advanced already with the bat for his age, and he has a lot of room to fill out, man. This is a guy who can end up putting on a lot more size. I mean, look at the swing here. Just very smooth. He makes good. When he gets into one, man, he can drive this ball a mile. Man, oh, man. Really like Cam Collier. Like I said, and he's an advanced hitter. He has quick hands, a smooth bat path, as you can see here in the video. He recognizes pitches really well for his age as well. He doesn't have a ton of speed, so he could end up moving to a corner infield spot first, maybe third, maybe play some left at some point. That's the one thing that's holding him back, but the bat is just so good, and it has so much projection on it that the Pittsburgh Pirates, man, they really like this guy. And this is a guy, he can end up moving really quick through the minor leagues just because of how good this bat is. So be on the lookout here for Cam Collier. I think that's a very underrated player in this draft. And I think he could be easily in the top 5. He has moved up leaderboards rather quickly. So coming in at number 5, we have another son of a former major league player. My goodness, you got sons all over the place in this draft. But coming in at number 5, we got the Washington Nationals are on the clock, and they are going to select Jackson Holliday, the son of Matt Holliday. My goodness, I can't wait to see this kid play, man. There's going to be a lot to like with him. He just looking at him, he just looks like he needs to add 30 pounds. And my goodness, when he does, dude, he could be even bigger than his dad. His dad was a beefy man. And I don't mean beefy as in, high body fat. I mean, that guy had some muscle on him. Jackson Holliday, give this guy some time to fill out his frame. And oh my, he could be just insanely strong with the power, man. But let's kind of go over this really quickly. He has a lot of tools. He bats from the left side. He can hit to all fields. Another one of these young hitters that they are very advanced for their age. These hitters these days, man, these kids are just so good at hitting. But with Jackson Holliday, he just has that natural hitting ability, good instincts already. He's improved with driving the ball more to opposite field. Good bat speed, good hands, good instinct in the field as well. My goodness. Wow, look at that swing one more time. Just, oof. Look at the bat speed. That is nuts. Look at the bat speed. I think Jackson Holliday could end up being one of the more fun players that comes out of this draft in the end. I really think he could be just like his dad. I really do. I think he has that potential. He just has so much projection. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jackson Holliday maybe even go a little higher. I could see Jackson Holliday possibly even go to a team like Texas. Maybe Texas. So the rumor is that Texas, they're a little split on Jackson Holliday. So some people in the organization really like him. Some people would maybe rather go for Drew Jones or Tamar Johnson. I could see Jackson Holliday being a top 3 pick. I really do. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I really like him. I think he could end up being an impact player just like his dad was. And I think, hey, for the Washington Nationals, this is a team, an organization. They really need to start filling out that organization with some more impact players. I mean, if you can get a player that was just like, if not better than Matt Holliday, I think you're setting yourself up for success. Jackson Holliday, I am really excited about him. Let's shift away here. Let's shift away from the high school hitters. Let's get into some college hitters. We started off the draft with a college hitter, and we're going to go back to the college ranks. And we got the Miami Marlins coming up next. And at number 6, the Miami Marlins select Jacob Berry. When you think of that Miami Marlins farm system, you think of a ton of pitching. Pitching, more pitching. Jacob Berry will be a very nice addition to the system because he is, simply put, one of the best hitters in this draft. A very polished hitter already. He's a switch hitter. My goodness. Just like Brooks Lee out of the number 1 spot, he can hit to all fields. He has more power from the right side, so be aware of that, but maybe he could add some more power to the left side down the road. He has great plate recognition. He's very patient at the plate. He could have been higher in this draft. The difference between a Jacob Berry and a Brooks Lee is that Brooks Lee is going to be more impactful in the field. Jacob Berry, as of right now, is projecting as a first baseman or even just a designated hitter. But he is so good with the bat. I mean, if you just take a look at him hitting here, my goodness. This was from a couple of years ago, so this is not the updated video. He just was at LSU. But already a couple of years ago, just hammering the ball. My goodness. I think this is a guy, he can absolutely be an impact bat. Jacob Berry for the Miami Marlins, I think that's a bat that they just need, that kind of a bat in their system. Now, moving on, we have the Chicago Cubs coming in at number 7. And I think for the Cubs here, they've got some talent at the major league level. They've built up some depth in that farm system. I think the Cubs, really here, they just, I don't want to say play it safe, but I think they just take the best available guy. And I think the best available guy right now on this board is going to be Kevin Perrotta, catcher out of Georgia Tech. Kevin Perrotta, as of right now, is viewed as the best catcher in this draft. Now, with Kevin Perrotta, what you're going to be getting with him is a bat. That's the big thing with him. This guy, just a phenomenal hitter at Georgia Tech, hitting .361, had a 1.162 OPS, 26 home runs at Georgia Tech this past year. He is a work in progress defensively, but man, oh man, this is a guy that can put some charge into the bat, man. My goodness. Like, just look at this swing one more time. Very interesting setup. Look at the setup here. Very unique. That's one thing I like about this draft is you got some guys that have some unique setups with their batting stance. I love that. It kind of gives me that old school sort of a feel. But look at the way he's setting up here. When do you ever see this? And then obviously, and then he gets himself into position and just bam, and he hits that one just straight center field. The guy's out of his mind. So let's take a look here at this at-bat really quick. Again, Kevin Perrotta, this is a guy where offensively, he's just going to be a great addition for any organization. Now, for the Cubs, they don't have a lot of catching depth in that organization. So this is a guy they can work with him. The one good thing about Kevin Perrotta with the catching, sure, it's a little behind. If we go take a look at Baseball America, and that's also one thing I want to point out as well. I mainly used Baseball America for this, and MLB Pipeline, I like MLB Pipeline. I like the presentation that they have. But to me, Baseball America, I put a little more trust into them. They have him at number 6 overall. But when it comes to the fielding, he's not very fast. But again, he's a catcher. They're not going to get a lot of speed. But the field right now, only 45, and the arm is a 45. So they have a lot of work to do with him defensively. Again, the offense is the big thing. 65 hit, 60 power. You got to love that. And I think the Cubs will like that when he drops to them at that spot. But the fielding, that is something they're going to have to work on. He has a very strong work ethic. So that is something that you can be, you can be confident in, that he will at least he will try his best to improve in that department. I think Kevin Perrotta, just the hitter, this guy is, wow, my Red Sox just got swept. What the heck just happened? What just happened with my Red Sox? What the heck? My Red Sox had a 4-1 lead. What the heck is going on? Oh, I can't even. We just got swept by the Rays. I almost went to one of these games, and I'm glad I didn't. Ugh, I can't talk about it. We're focused on the draft right now. But I have Kevin Perrotta going to the Chicago Cubs at number 7. Coming in at number 8, we get the Minnesota Twins. U.S. Veterans, a $7 super chat coming in for baseball, for America, for you. U.S. Veteran, man, I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate it. Always coming through. There's the super chat. I really do appreciate all the support you've been giving for the channel lately. Really, it really does mean a lot. Thank you so much. But let's move on here. I have the Minnesota Twins at number 8, selecting Gavin Cross. I really like Gavin Cross. I think he's a bit underrated here. Let me actually pull up the highlights here for all of you. I just clicked out of my top prospects list. But let's go to Gavin Cross. Let's go to the footage. Here we go. Gavin Cross out of Virginia Tech, man. Just look at this Oppo shot that he just hit. I mean, my goodness. Are you kidding me? Gavin Cross, man. Really like him a lot. Just got into one. Goes Oppo. But what I like about Gavin Cross is, while Jace Young is ranked higher than him, what I like about Gavin Cross is he's going to give you a little bit more athleticism. One more time looking at that shot. Man, just a laser shot Oppo field. Again, he kind of has a bit of a crouch in that stance. I love that. Got a lot of like old school looking sort of, I mean, look at the crouch, man. I love that. Hold on, let me pinpoint that. Got the hands low. I love this, man. I love it. Love it. But Gavin Cross, taking a look. As of right now, he is ranked at number 10, while Jace Young is at number 9. But what I like about Gavin Cross is that he's going to give you a little more athleticism. He's not going to be incredibly athletic out there. He's not going to be the fastest guy. He's got a 50 run, which is pretty average. But Jace Young, while he does have incredible hitting, he's not really going to be great out there with the speed. He's not going to give you a great fielding tool. But Gavin Cross, I like that he's at least average in both of those departments. And he also has a really good arm. So that's what I like about Gavin Cross. He's not going to be higher with the grades when it comes to the hitting. He's still got good power. But I like that Gavin Cross can give you a little bit more all across the board. And I think for the Twins, I think that just fits their style a little bit more. Just a solid hitter. He's got good power. With Virginia Tech last year, he hit 318, 14 homers. And while he has a 50 run, he did steal 11 bases last year. So he can definitely swipe a bag here and there. But I love the arm out there in the outfield. To me, I would prefer Gavin Cross. I mean, I know I said earlier I love the bat of a Termarr Johnson, but when it comes to these college hitters, these college players, they're more floor kind of guys. And to me, I like that Gavin Cross can give you a little bit more with the fielding while also still giving you a pretty solid bat. Whereas with Drew Jones and Termarr Johnson is just so advanced with the bat already. And then he's just so young, and he can improve on that defense. It's not like he's a bad defender out there anyway. So that's the difference. These are college players where their floors are higher, their ceilings are lower, while Drew Jones, Termarr Johnson, there's more ceiling there. So, but anyway, I like Gavin Cross. I like the more all-around kind of a player coming out of college. So that moves us into number 9 with the Kansas City Royals. And speaking of high ceiling guys, this could be the highest ceiling player in this draft. Going to the Kansas City Royals at number 9, I got Elijah Green. I don't think the Royals can pass up on Elijah Green. He's just sitting here. The Kansas City Royals, man, they've been taking a lot of college players. They did take a high school player last year in Frank Mozzicato, but Elijah Green, man, this guy's going to be sitting here. This guy is uber full of potential, man. Let's go take a look at the highlights. Elijah Green, man. This is a guy who people have thought he could go number 1 at one point. Now people are thinking he could go maybe top 3, maybe top 5. I do think he slides a little bit. And the big reason for that is he does have some swing and miss in his game. He has shown some trouble catching up to velocity. He tends to chase a little bit. His pitch selection is not quite there yet, but oh my, when this guy gets into one, he can hit it to Jupiter. This guy is just, in a way, almost reminds me of a Jorge Soler, but more of a better overall hitter and especially better in the field as well. Elijah Green, man, he has so much upside. But let's take a look at the highlights. Not the bunting. I don't care about the bunting. We want to see some hitting. But he's got just so much strength already. He's just such a good athlete. And when you look at him swinging here, it looks effortless. It looks effortless almost. But he's just hitting bombs. That's the thing with Elijah Green. He's got to clean up more of the all-around game with his hitting. Recognizing those pitches, not getting beat by high-velocity fastballs. But if this guy can figure this out, oh boy, he could end up being one of the best hitters in the game. That's how good this guy is. He's extremely athletic. He has a 70 power tool, and he has a 70 speed. That's the kind of enigma this guy is. And he has a really good arm out there as well. Again, kind of reminds me of Jorge Soler, but I think he has the potential to be even way better than Jorge Soler. He's just that physical specimen. And I really like Elijah Green. I thought this was a guy just because of the potential alone could have been a top 5 player, but I think he does slide a little bit here. I think this year he ends up being the Khalil Watson of last year. Khalil Watson slid down into number 15 or whatever it was last year to the Marlins. Elijah Green, I have him sliding down to number 9. Could he end up sliding down a little lower? The Royals, they went with Mozzicato. They went for the very high ceiling with him. And I think they do it again with Elijah Green. but just with the offense this time. So it'll be interesting to see what the Royals end up doing. Let's move on here to number 10. We're at number 10. We have reached double digits. We're a third of the way through. The Colorado Rockies are on the clock, and the Colorado Rockies select Jace Young. This, to me, is just the perfect fit. When I'm thinking of a guy going to Coors Field, a guy like Jace Young, oh my, there's just a lot to like with him. This was just such a good hitter. He has a very unique... Now, if you take a first glance at this, right, it doesn't look like he's doing anything, doesn't look like anything special. But when you look at the bat, he's actually tilting it backwards towards the backstop. You don't usually see anything like that. Again, another one of these unique batting styles in this draft. He has he gets comfortable in his own way, and that's his way. But it's not affecting his hitting at all. He's a fantastic hitter. I can't see the Rockies passing on this guy. I mean, just look at how he got into this one. Let's just take one more look at this. My goodness. This guy, look how far he hit this one. My goodness. He's a monster. I mean, let's take one more look here. Hopefully I don't get hit with some copyrights. But going up against Merrimack, I mean, just my goodness. He can just get into these, man. It's crazy, man. He makes a ton of contact as well. Very good power. Last year at Texas Tech, he hit .335 with a 1093 OPS, 14 home runs. Very good plate discipline as well. He had 55 walks compared to 42 strikeouts. Just a good baseball IQ. Just a guy, he's a winning guy, He's just got a lot to offer to a major league team. I think he ends up making it to the major leagues pretty quickly. The one thing holding him back, though, is the defense. He's not very good in the field. But the thing with him is he can play multiple positions. So I like that about Jace Young. I think, while, he's not going to be flashy out there, he's still going to give you a lot of bat, and he's going to give you versatility. So I could see Jace Young maybe even going higher. I could see him maybe going to the Cubs, maybe the Marlins. I could see him going as high as that. If the Royals maybe want to switch it up from last year, they went with Mo Zicato on the upside in the pitching. Maybe they go with more of a safe bet out of college with Jace Young. I could definitely see that too. But to me, I can't see him falling past the Rockies. So that there's no way. If the Rockies have Jace Young on the board right there and they don't pick him, I will just lose my mind. But moving on to number 11, let's have a fun one here. The first picture being taken off the board, we got the New York Mets up. Remember, this was the pick they got for Kumar Rocker. Remember Kumar Rocker last year? They picked him and they ended up not signing. Maybe we'll talk about Kumar Rocker a little bit later. You have to stay tuned. But here is the pick for that, the compensation, I guess you could say. This time, the New York Mets, they're not going to play around with it, but they are going to go with some upside out of high school. This was not too long ago. He was not the top pitcher in this draft, but because of certain circumstances with other players, he is now regarded as the best pitcher in this draft. And that is Brock Porter going to the New York Mets. I really like this for the Mets. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, just a second ago, that he was not the best pitcher at one point. That was Dylan Lesko. But Dylan Lesko ended up getting Tommy John. But Brock Porter is not too far behind him. There is a lot to like with Brock Porter. He throws 95, 98 regularly. He can touch 100. He's 19 years old, and this guy's already throwing 100. While Dylan Lesko has the best changeup in this class, Brock Porter has a good changeup as well. Very good slider, has an okay curveball. Got a little bit of a tilt with his windup. If you take a look right here, where when he lifts the leg, pay attention here, he kind of tilts back a little bit, so scouts are they wonder if that's going to end up messing with his mechanics at all. But it's not overly concerning because he does throw a lot of strikes and he has pretty good command, so it's not a big worry. but the stuff that this guy has, big fastball, really good changeup, really good slider, has a decent curve as well. I will say this. I could see the Mets taking Dylan Lesko if they're not afraid of the Tommy John thing, which I think a lot of teams out there, they don't seem to be fazed by these guys getting Tommy John. I went a little safer here. This is, I guess you could call a prediction. I don't know. I just think the reason, because here's the thing. I did have Dylan Lesko in this spot at one point, but then I kind of just thought to myself, you know what? They took Kumar Rocker last year. There's the whole thing with the medicals and whatnot. Do they want to go that route again? I don't know. So I went with a safer pick here in Brock Porter. I think they could go Dylan Lesko. If they're not afraid of the Tommy John and everything, then absolutely go Dylan Lesko. I think if I had a pick, I would go, look at that slider that he just threw. Look at the movement on this. My goodness, look at that. Did you just see that? Look at this. It was a high pitch, but what the heck is going on? Brock Porter, man, he's really good. We'll have to wait and see what the Mets end up doing. They do have 2 picks here within a few picks. They have the 11th pick here, and then they have number 14. I think personally they should go 1 pitcher and 1 hitter. I think balance it out, really take advantage of it. To me, you got a chance here. If you go Brock Porter or Dylan Lesko, I think that's a huge win. I think it just comes down to what do they want to do? Do they want to go through all that medical stuff again with Dylan Lesko, just like they did with Rocker last year? Or do they go someone a little safer, Brock Porter? But that's who I have as of right now. Moving on to number 12. Let's go more upside, shall we, here for the Detroit Tigers. Detroit Tigers, they've been going pretty college heavy the last few years, minus last year. Did go with the pitcher last year with their number 3 pick. I'm going blank on the name. Why am I going blank? Oh, Jackson Jobe. But I think they go once again with some upside here because they have been going pretty college heavy over the last few years. You know, picking Torkelson, they did pick Riley Green out of high school, so I guess whatever. But they also had Dylan Dingler in there as well. So I think they just stick with the upside here. A lot of their upper minor leagues are developing really well, so I think they start to replenish the lower levels here. And I think this is a really fun player. And to me, I think if he's sitting there, I think you got to take him. So at number 12, the Detroit Tigers, they select Justin Crawford. I really like Justin Crawford. His dad playing for the Red Sox was not very fun. So Justin Crawford, please stay away from my Red Sox. But for the Detroit Tigers, he offers a ton of upside. In all honesty, kind of reminds me of Riley Green. In a way, kind of reminds me of Riley Green, where just super athletic, good bat already. I think there's a lot to like with Justin Crawford, but of course, he gets a lot of comparisons to his dad. I mean, no surprise there. He's got a ton of speed. The hit tool could still get better. Right now, it's at a 50 in some scouting reports, a 55 in others. The power isn't quite there, but the speed, he has a good arm as well. So he's an athlete. Justin Crawford is an athlete, but he also has a pretty solid hit tool already. Not as good as some of these other high school players in this draft, according to the scouting reports. His swing tends to get a little lengthy at times, so they got to clean up the mechanics a little bit. But when he does get into one, man, he can really get into one. He can put it into the seats. He's got just so much raw potential. I think Justin Crawford is a guy, I absolutely think if he's sitting there, you got to take advantage of that athleticism. Again, getting it from his dad, but the power, I mean, just looking at his size, and when he starts adding a little bit more size to his frame, I mean, my goodness, look out for Justin Crawford. You know you're getting a ton of athleticism with him. So that's always a good thing, man. If you can always build off of that and then just work with the mechanics of the swing, man, I think the sky is the limit for someone like Justin Crawford. So moving on here. Let's move on to the LA Angels. the LA Angels, they picked every single pick last year was a pitcher. And you know what? They're going to stick with that trend. They went with Sam Bachman out of college last year, and I think they stick with the college rankings once again. I think to me, if I'm the Angels, I'm just going off of just a hunch here. I just feel like maybe they want to just go with sure bets for the top picks. They've gone heavy upside players over the last 5 to 10 years. And I think when they took Bachman last year, they kind of said to me, they said, okay, we really need to start improving this farm. And we need to start getting guys that can maybe be more of a sure thing. So I think they stay that route. And I think at number 13, the Angels select Cade Horton. Cade Horton, there's a lot to like with him. Let's get into the video here. Let's share the screen. Cade Horton was just pitching for Oklahoma last year, and he was very good. I know the ERA doesn't look all that great right here, but he ended up getting better towards the end of the season. He started showing a lot more promise. But I definitely think the Angels are going to go more college pitching here. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone like Cade Horton. There's a few other college pitchers in this draft I think you could go with. But with someone like Cade Horton, he kind of reminds me in a way of Cade Cavalli with the Washington Nationals. Kind of reminds me of him. They even pitch kind of similar. They almost look the same when it comes to their mechanics. And also, played some football back in the day as well. But he's got really good stuff. Look at this changeup that he just threw. Look at the changeup. It just completely disappeared. Let's go to the scouting report on Mr. Cade Horton. Number 23 on Baseball America right now, but he's got a 65 fastball, 55 curveball, a 65 slider. The changeup, that was a pretty good changeup that he just threw, but they're only giving him a 45 right now. Pretty average with the control, but he's got a big fastball. He's got a good curveball, but he's got a wipeout slider. In a way, kind of reminds me of Cade Cavalli in a way. I think Cade Horton is a guy, he still has a lot of upside. Even as a college pitcher, I still think there's a lot you can do with him. Again, kind of like Cade Cavalli, he was a quarterback at one point. Kind of reminds me of that. And right now with Cavalli, that's been working out with the Nationals. So I think with Horton, man, I think kind of also reminds me of Bachman in a way. Bigger framed guy, big fastball, good slider. Reminds me of Bachman in a way. So I think they stick with that. I think they stick with that formula. And I think they go with Cade Horton at number 13. At number 14, we're back to the Mets. And this is the luxury of having two picks. Because you can, in a way, it's kind of fun, man. If you're a Mets fan and you're watching this draft, you're having yourself a good time when you're in this area. But at number 11, I had the Mets taking Brock Porter, a pitcher. So in this spot, I have them going with an offensive player, and this is a guy they've been connected to a lot. They've been scouting this guy a lot, according to the reports out there, and they seem to really like this guy, kind of like that same sort of love that the White Sox had for Colson Montgomery. The Mets are showing it with this player in particular. And at number 14, the Mets select Jett Williams. I think Jett Williams, man, I really think he's kind of an underrated guy in this draft, a prep player. I think there's a lot to like with him. So let's pull up the video. Mr. Jett Williams, let's take a look here. A lot to like with Mr. Jett Williams, man. He's a little smaller in size, but that's okay. He's got really good instincts. He's just a good ball player. Just a guy that you just want on your team. Just a guy that you want in your organization. Just a hard-nosed kind of a player. In a way, kind of reminds me of Dustin Pedroia in a way. Kind of reminds me of Pedroia. If we go take a look at Jett Williams I just love the name too. Jett Williams. I mean, come on, that's an awesome name. He's only 5'8". Kind of reminds me of Dustin Pedroia, but he's got that small in stature, but that bulldog mentality. I really like that about him. But if you look at the tools, there's a lot to like here, man. 55 hit, 50 power. Again, he's going to be a little smaller, but this is a guy where I've read in some scouting reports that they think he could end up hitting maybe like 15 to 20 home runs, but he's really athletic. He's got a ton of speed, a 60 run. He's good in the field, has a good enough arm. I think Jett Williams is a really fun player, and I think that could end up being a really good fit for the Mets. I could see Jett Williams one day being a fan favorite in Queens. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, sure, smaller in size, but this is a guy kind of like Pedroia. This is a guy you want in your organization, a guy that's going to play hard, he's going to work hard, and I think he could end up being a fan favorite for the Mets one day. So, I'm also seeing in the chat, Jose Altuve. You know, maybe that kind of a comparison as well. But let's get to number 15. We have reached the halfway point of the first round. And at number 15, we have the San Diego Padres. And we mentioned this guy earlier. The Mets ended up going with Brock Porter at number 11. Could they end up taking this guy? Sure. We'll have to wait and see. But in my mock draft, I don't see the Padres passing on Dylan Lesko. I think Dylan Lesko, this is a guy, I don't care about the Tommy John. I think he needs to go in the top 15. I still think Dylan Lesko could go in the top 10. I really do. I think he could be a top 10 guy. To me, I almost find it difficult that he's even falling this far. The one thing about Dylan Lesko is he is committed to Vanderbilt. So that is something where maybe with the Padres, and that's why I'm saying maybe the Mets could end up taking him if they really like him. The Mets can really throw some money at him. I know you have a bonus pool to work with, but maybe the Mets feel like they can do an overpay for a Dylan Lesko, and maybe they could try and get Jett Williams a little bit more of an underslot. So I definitely could see the Mets going after Dylan Lesko, absolutely. But for me, I don't think he goes by the Padres. The Padres have been connected with him, so that is one thing to be aware of. But Dylan Lesko, man, this guy is special. I mean, just looking at this guy, look at the fastball, just exploding. He looks like a major league pitcher already. Almost kind of reminds me of Jack Leiter in a way, kind of that same aggressive sort of a delivery. A lot of life on the fastball, good off-speed stuff. Look at that curveball that he just threw. Look at this curveball. It starts. That curveball's here, and then it's down here. My goodness, that curveball is absolutely insane. But the thing with Dylan Lesko, he has the best changeup in this draft according to the scouts. There's just I'm not sure where in this video the changeup is, but it's really good. Scouts have compared Dylan Lesko a lot to Josh Beckett, and that is quite the comparison. Big fastball, good changeup, good curveball as well. I can see why he gets a lot of comparisons to Josh Beckett. The curveball has a ton of spin. It ranges anywhere from 2,000 RPMs to 3,200. So, I mean, my goodness, it's to me, I almost find it hard to believe that the Mets would pass on him. I find it hard to believe that a lot of teams would pass on him. Again, I wonder if a team like the Royals could end up picking him, or I don't know. I'm trying to think. Let me go to the draft order here. I'm already going blank on who already picked. But if we were to go, let me just run through these teams really quick. I mean, I don't think he goes in the top 5. I don't think so. I mean, could you imagine the Marlins adding him? I mean, we were just talking about Josh Beckett. I mean, could you imagine? Could you imagine the Marlins taking possibly the next Josh Beckett? I mean, the Cubs, do they feel like maybe they want a high upside pitcher in their system? I don't know. Kansas City, they just selected a high upside pitcher last year in Mozzicato. Could they go that route again in Kansas City? I mean, the Rockies, I don't know. Do they feel like they want to go for their next stud possibly? I don't know. It seems difficult, and especially like a team like the Tigers. Could you imagine if the Tigers drafted Dylan Lesko? You just picked Jackson Jobe last year, and now you got Dylan Lesko in your system as well? I mean, my goodness. Could you imagine that? My goodness. I think the Angels could take Dylan Lesko. I think with the Angels, I went with a college pitcher because I feel like they're going to go more of that safe route. But to me, I think Lesko could go anywhere. I have him at 15. I think he can go anywhere in the top 15. I don't think he's going to go number 1. I don't think he's going to go number 2 or 3. I mean, I could see an argument for the Marlins taking him at 6. I really do. I think he's that good. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But for the Padres, I think this is a guy, they picked Mackenzie Gore not too long ago. That was a guy out of high school. I think this is kind of another guy. Could you imagine a rotation with Mackenzie Gore in the future and Dylan Lesko as well? I mean, my goodness, what a 1-2 punch that would be down the road. Tons of velocity with him, mid-90s with ease, lots of life, like I said. He just has all the makings of a top-of-the-rotation guy. He is committed to Vanderbilt, so you're probably going to have to throw some money at him. But then again, you could also use the leverage of, okay, well, you had Tommy John surgery, so maybe that could even out somehow. We'll have to wait and see. I think Dylan Lesko is really interesting in this draft. I think he's kind of an enigma in the top 15, but I don't see him going past the Padres. There's no way. On to number 16, and this is actually probably one of my, I think this guy's in my top 3 favorite players in this draft. I really like this guy. I actually really hope my Red Sox end up getting him. We'll have to wait and see, but this guy, man, I love him. I just love watching him pitch. He's fun to watch. He reminds me of Chris Sale. Maybe some of you already have an idea of who I'm talking about. But the Guardians are going to pick Cooper Jerpy out of OSU, out of Oregon. My goodness, Cooper Jerpy is extremely fun. Let's go watch some highlights. Out of Oregon State, man. I'm telling you, just look at the delivery. Look at the delivery with Cooper Jerpy, man. He reminds me of Chris Sale. Kind of that low arm slot. Chris Sale, I think, he had more velocity. But Cooper Jerpy, man, look at the arm slot. He is extremely difficult to pick up. Could you imagine going up against this guy and you're a left-handed batter? Look at the batter. Look at the swing this batter just did. Focus on the batter. He didn't even know what to do. He just swung at it. He's like, what the heck do I even do with that? Did you see that changeup that he just threw? This guy's nasty. He's nasty. I think he could end up going higher. I think the Angels could end up, if the Angels were to go with a college pitcher, I don't see why you couldn't go with someone like him. You know, if you didn't feel like you were all that confident with Cade Horton, go with Jerpy. I absolutely love this man. I love this guy. This guy's awesome. Again, he's one of my favorite players in this draft. He reminds a lot of people of Chris Sale just because of the delivery. But he also has that bit of a bulldog mentality as well. He can hit a little bit too. But he just has an aggressive windup as well. He's got good life on the fastball, but it's deceptive. That's the thing about him, is he hides the ball really well. He has a ton of deception. He's hard to pick up. So that's the big thing with him, is he's just going to be a tough at bat no matter where he ends up pitching. I think he's going to have a successful major league career. He's been a guy that's healthy too. He hasn't had any arm issues. But the one reason I like the fit for the Guardians is they're an analytical organization. And Cooper Jerpy loves his analytics. He loves looking at the data. He loves going into the lab, and he loves working on stuff, man. And I absolutely think for the Guardians, that's a match made in heaven. If he is at number 16 for the Guardians, I absolutely think, man, that they cannot pass on this guy. He's super competitive too. He's just very intense out there on the mound. With the fastball, he's not going to blow you away with a fastball. 93, maybe 95, but he's got a pretty good off-speed stuff. But the reason his off-speed stuff, it doesn't necessarily have the most movement. It's just because of the deception, the release point, the angles that he's throwing these pitches. I think Cooper Jerpy, man, this is a guy you got to look out for, man. This guy you got to look out for. And I really like him for the Cleveland Guardians at number 16. Let's stick with the pitching. At number 17, we have the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, I think this is a really interesting spot. I had a tough time with this pick, and I think the Phillies could go a multitude of ways with this pick. I kind of went safe with this pick. but then again, it's not really like a safe pick. I do have Brandon Barrera going to the Phillies here, but I think the Phillies could go multiple ways. I've even seen some possibilities of Kumar Rocker going to the Phillies, and I think that would actually make some sense. The Phillies don't have exactly a deep farm system. If they want someone that can come along pretty quickly, that can give them some more time to develop these guys in the minor leagues, use their other picks for more high upside guys that they can work with in the minors, and then go with Kumar Rocker as your top pick. I could absolutely see that. Absolutely. But for me, I went with Brandon Barrera. I think I'm saying that right. Barrera? Or is it Barrera? Sorry. But I like Barrera. This is a guy, I like his delivery. Pretty smooth for the most part. Not a whole lot of stuff going on. Nothing complicated going on with his delivery. He's not the biggest guy out there either. He's 5'11", but he's got good stuff. And again, a smooth delivery. He's got a plus fastball, plus slider. Also has a changeup, has a curveball as well. He doesn't throw very much. But the one thing about him, he's a bulldog out there. He's super competitive. And one thing with Barrera too, is he has a little bit of deception. I've read that hitters have a bit of a tough time picking him up. So that is one thing to like about him already, especially at a younger age. But again, I could see the Phillies going a few different ways. Could you go with someone like Kumar Rocker, which would be hilarious because the Mets picked him last year? And could you imagine him coming up through the Phillies system really quick and then just going up against the Mets at the end of the year? I think that would be absolutely hilarious. I think that would be hilarious. But to me, I'm going to go the safe, even though he is out of high school. I'm going to go a little safer here. Brandon Barrera, 18 years old. He's got good stuff already. And I think it would just be a good value pick at this spot. So in the end, this could be a guy if Mick Abel ends up really developing into something, as well as Andrew Painter, and then you got Barrera not too far behind those guys. That could be a pretty good 1-2-3 punch at one point if all three of those guys end up developing. So I like Barrera in this spot, but again, I could see the Phillies. They could go a couple of different ways. Could maybe go with a bat too. We'll have to wait and see. Speaking of bats, we're at the Cincinnati Reds. This is a bit of a tough one too. I had a bit of a hard time kind of coming up with a guy here, and I kind of went with a bit of a safe pick here because they've also been connected with him a little bit. They have watched a lot of him through. They have scouted him a lot, and going to the Cincinnati Reds at number 18, I have Cole Young. Cole Young is kind of one of these guys where he's pretty good at everything. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Jeter Downs. Really. He's just good at everything. He's not like amazing at one thing, but he's just pretty good at everything. He's pretty good with the bat. He's got a little bit of power. He's good in the field. He's got some speed. He's got some instincts out there. Again, that reminds me of Jeter Downs. He's a good hitter. The power needs to get a little bit better. He needs to add a little more size onto him, but he's just a polished player already. Out of high school, he's just smooth out there. He's got good hands out there, pretty good with the swing. There's not a whole lot to really criticize. He's just pretty good at everything. And so for the Reds, to me, I think it's funny with him because he's a high school player, but according to scouts, he's got more of a floor than a ceiling, if that makes any sense. He's just kind of that all-around sort of a player, more polished already, where they don't see a lot of improvement with him. Sure, he could add a little bit more size. He's not the biggest guy out there. He's not really small either, but I think for the Reds, he's just a solid player, and I think that's a guy. Why not go for it? He's got good value, and he's ranked pretty well in Baseball America. He's number 14. So at number 18, this would be a pretty good value pick for them. So overall, I think that can end up being a really solid pick. I will say this. I think if someone like Jett Williams falls to this spot, I could see Jett Williams maybe getting drafted here. The Reds, they tend to like those kind of hard-nosed players. Remember, they picked Matt McLain last year. Matt McLain has a good makeup. He's a hard worker, has a good work ethic out there. I could see someone like Jett Williams maybe being a guy for the Cincinnati Reds. If Dylan Lesko ends up really falling, I don't see how the Reds pass up on him. There's no way. There's no way. I think if the Reds have Dylan Lesko sitting right there, you absolutely take that guy. Absolutely. So, but for me, I'll go the safe pick, and I'll go with Cole Young. At number 19, pretty fun one here. I do like this pick for the Oakland A's. And for the Oakland A's at number 19, they're going to pick Chase DeLauter. I really like me some Chase DeLauter, man. He kind of sounds like an Oakland A already. Sounds like an Oakland A. Let's pull up the highlights here. Pull up the highlights. Chase DeLauter. These are some highlights from last year. What I like about him, he's an all-around really good hitter already. Solid hit tool. He was playing in the Cape Cod League recently. He hit .298 in the Cape Cod League, which they use wood bats. So his power translated pretty well to the Cape Cod League. He had 9 home runs there. He's got a good eye as well. In that league, he walked 21 times, and he only struck out 18 times. So it's pretty nice there. He's got good athleticism. He can play all 3 outfield spots. I could end up seeing him go a little higher than this. Maybe the Cincinnati Reds end up taking him. I could absolutely see him going a little higher. The one thing about him is he broke his foot while playing for James Madison. So that is one thing that kind of reduced his value a little bit. But for him, he's just already a pretty advanced hitter. He has good power. He's just really disciplined at the plate as well. He has good pitch selection. Yeah, I like Chase DeLauter a lot, man. I think he's a really solid player. I think he fits the A's pretty well. We are into the 20s. Let's talk about the Atlanta Braves, the defending champion Atlanta Braves. At number 20, the Braves are going to go with a picture that was, hey, kind of like Dylan Lesko. Had to have Tommy John, and his value kind of went down a little bit. But for number 20, the Atlanta Braves will select Connor Prelip. Really like me some Connor Prelip, man, out of Alabama. Really like him, man. Let's go take a look at some highlights here. And we kind of have some potato cam footage. We have some potato cam footage here. Connor Prelip struck out 11 guys against Lipscomb a couple of years ago. This was before he got hurt. But in his first season at Alabama, he got up to 28 innings, hit a 0.96 ERA, and 47 strikeouts through those 28 innings. There's a lot of potential here. A lot of people thought this is a guy where he could have ended up being a top 10 pick at one point. So at number 20, this would be pretty good value for the Atlanta Braves. And he's a lefty too. You got to love the lefties. But plus fastball from the left side, big fastball from him. He's actually got one of the best sliders in this draft. One of the better sliders, and especially from the left side. Sliders from the left side, they're always pretty devastating. He's got a pretty good changeup as well. Remember, the Braves, they took Spencer Strider not too long ago. He ended up having to get Tommy John. So the Braves aren't afraid of picking guys who need Tommy John. I wonder if he even falls to this spot. Could he end up going a little higher? Don't forget we had Gunnar Hoglund last year, where he kind of went around this range. I think he went number 19 to the Blue Jays, I feel like. So that sounds like a pretty nice spot here for the Atlanta Braves. I like Connor Prelip going to Atlanta. I think it makes a lot of sense. Here we go. Moving on to the Seattle Mariners. They went with Harry Ford last year. High upside guy, high upside catcher, a lot of athleticism. I think they go a little more conservative here. I think they just go with the best player available. I think they just go with something solid, and that is, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Zach Neto. I think I'm going to say Neto. But really solid shortstop. This is a guy that you would just love to have in your organization. This is a guy, man, he's kind of another one of these guys where he has a very unique setup. So when you look at how he is here, right, nothing too crazy with how he's standing. Nothing too crazy, pretty normal looking stance, but let's keep watching. Okay, picture sets up here. Look at the leg kick. Look how high his knee is. Are you kidding me? What the heck is going on? All of a sudden, he looks completely normal, and then he just has a massive leg kick. I love it. I love all these unique styles here with these hitters, man. But he is a guy, where that really helps him. It helps him with his timing. It helps him get a little more torque, which gives him a little bit more power. He's not the strongest guy out there, so that ends up giving him a little bit more power. He has a really good hit tool already. He's actually one of the better hitters in this draft. The Mariners have also been really connected with him. They've had a lot of scouts out to watch him. Just a good all-around player. 55 hit, 55 power, 55 run, 50 in the field. He's got a good arm. 60 arm, according to Baseball America. I mean, look what he just did here with a home run. Look what's going on here. Look at the high leg kick. He just gets into it, man. That's beautiful. I love it. Absolutely. That is fantastic. I love it. I think for the Mariners, hey, future solid shortstop. I don't hate it at all. Could it be a guy that ends up playing second base down the road for you? I think he's just a really solid guy, really solid player. If we go take a look at the rankings, he is ranked number 16th. So to get him at number 21, I think that's a good value for the Seattle Mariners. I don't think you can pass up on it. So I love me that leg kick, man. I love it. I love it. Moving on to number 22. You know, I really like this guy. I really like this guy at number 22 for, is it 22? Wait, hold on a second. I might have messed up my rank. I might have messed up my order. Oh, I messed up my order here. Oopsies. I had the Cardinals and the Blue Jays backwards. I always find a way to mess something up. 22 is the Cardinals, and 23 are the Blue Jays. I have it backwards here. I have it backwards. So I'll start with, it's going to say 23. At least I think it will. I don't know, maybe. Let's see. Yep, so I have it backwards. But number 22, I have Brock Jones going to the St. Louis Cardinals. I like me some Brock Jones. This dude is beefy. I love it. I'm telling you, man, he sounds like a St. Louis Cardinal already. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Tyler O'Neill. Just a stocky guy. He played football as well. Just got some muscle on his frame. He reminds me of Tyler O'Neill. Almost same builds, really. Just they're just batting from different parts of the plate. Different sides of the plate, sorry. But Brock Jones, man, this guy, he is a physical guy, still working on the hitting. He's not the best hitter out there, but he's got power. And I think with the Cardinals, that's a guy, man. They tend to go with these power over hit guys, and then they work on the hitting. Where, remember when they took Nolan Gorman? Nolan Gorman had a higher power tool than the hit tool when they drafted him. Jordan Walker, more power than hit. So they tend to go in this direction. I think Brock Jones is a guy. He is not ranked this high, so the Cardinals would be picking him here at number 22. Whereas on Baseball America, he's ranked number 30. So a bit of a reach, but I think for the Cardinals, if there's a chance for them to save some money with this pick, why not? Let's go for it. But I really like him a lot. Just a physical guy. He's really athletic. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a 60 run tool. He's good in the field. Good power already. He's only got a 45 hit. So, but I think that's something the Cardinals can work with. If we go take a look at another, he homered 3 times in the College World Series against Texas Tech. Look at the power. Look at the run on that fastball. Ended up getting to around almost the outside part of the plate, but he caught up to it and still pulled it. This guy is just a freak, man. He just flicked that ball. One more time. I mean, look at that. Just insane. I really like Brock Jones. I think he's one of my more underrated players in this draft, because I think if you just work on that hit tool with him, holy cow, this guy can end up being a really good player. So we'll have to wait and see. But I like that pick for the Cardinals. It sounds like a pick that they've made before with Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman. And he hits him on the left side as well. So good in the field. He's got some speed. He just sounds like a St. Louis Cardinal, if you ask me. Moving on to number 23. It's going to say 22 here because I got the order mixed up when I was setting this up. But we're going to go with another outfielder. Another outfielder for the Blue Jays. We're going to go with Drew Gilbert out of what the heck am I saying? I got to go to bed. Out of Tennessee, not 20C. Tennessee. Drew Gilbert, I think this is a guy that needs to get a little bit more love. I really like Drew Gilbert. To me, he's one of the better all-around players in this draft. So let's go take a look here. Here we go. ESPN. I'm not the biggest fan of ESPN, but they did a pretty good job with setting up a lot of these highlight reels. I mean, just look at the swing here, man. He's got an aggressive swing. Love it, man. So that's one thing you're going to get with Drew Gilbert. He's a solid player. He was one of their best hitters, if not their best hitter overall last year. Hit .362 with a .455 on base and a .673 slugging in 58 games. He walked 33 times compared to 32 strikeouts, and playing in a really good division as well, or a really good conference. I mean, Drew Williams, I think this is a guy who could end up going up a lot higher. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals end up taking him. I think he is a better pick than a Brock Jones. Could you maybe argue that Brock Jones has could have a bit more of a ceiling? Sure, that's possible. But to me, Drew Gilbert absolutely is just already a safe bet. And I think for the Blue Jays in this spot, at this spot in the draft at number 23, I think it's just a safe pick. And I think Drew Gilbert ends up being a really solid player for you. He's going to give you some pretty good defense. I think he ends up being a pretty good everyday player down the road. So I think he makes a lot of sense for the Blue Jays. I think it's a good value pick. As of right now, he is ranked number 24 on Baseball America. So picking him at number 23 sounds about right if you ask me. All righty. Let's go to my Red Sox. Oh my. I hope everyone's paying attention here. Hope everyone's paying attention to this pick. Hyde Bloom has made some electric picks in the past. He has made some electric picks. He picked Blaze Jordan a couple of years ago. He ended up having Marcelo Meyer fall to his lap last year. My goodness, how the heck did we get that guy number 4? The Red Sox have the 24th pick. And you know who I think they're going to go get? They have been connected with this guy before. They have supposedly been connected with him this year. They have been scouting him quite a bit. They even had some nice things to say publicly about this player. Number 24, the Boston Red Sox. They select Kumar Rocker. I just see it. I see it, man. I see Hyde Bloom. He's going to go for the electric pick. He's going to go Kumar Rocker at number 24. We already know Kumar Rocker. We've seen plenty of highlights, but you know what? We got to see some more highlights. So let's take a look at his debut with the Tri-City Valley Cats in the Frontier League. Kumar Rocker, man. Let's go take a look here. Kumar Rocker. So the big thing, remember he got drafted by the Mets. He ended up getting a minor shoulder surgery. There were concerns with him. Kumar Rocker last year was regarded by some people as the best pitcher in that draft. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Kumar Rocker, if you end up getting him, if you end up getting a healthy Kumar Rocker, I'm just saying. And to me, Hyde Bloom, he's made these fun picks before. When he picked Blaze Jordan not too long ago, everyone was like, oh, look at that pick. Look at that pick. But Kumar Rocker, he's still throwing in the upper 90s, even despite getting a minor shoulder surgery. Very good slider still. Good changeup. He doesn't use it as often, but still has it there. He's also been throwing a cutter as well. So he's still viewed as one of the top pitchers that's not a prep pitcher. To me, I think he's the enigma of the draft. Hyde Bloom, he's used to making splashes. I think Kumar Rocker, I think he goes to the Boston Red Sox. And there is a rumor out there that he has a deal already with the team. Has a deal already in place. Are the Red Sox that team? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But I have the Red Sox taking Kumar Rocker at number 24. So I see you in the chat. Let's see. Josh T. What would his ETA be? A lot of people think he could end up getting to the major leagues this year. That's just how good he is. Maybe you could use him out of the bullpen this year. I could see for the Red Sox, maybe they could end up having him. Maybe if they end up picking him, maybe next year, at least. I would at least next year, I would imagine. But I think Hyde Bloom, this is a guy where he has taken advantage of guys where that just sounded weird. Let's backtrack on that. Hyde Bloom has taken advantage of injuries in the past, where guys have had injuries and he's been able to get them for a little cheaper. Kumar Rocker kind of fits that bill. So I think that could end up being a really cool pick, man. That would be the story of the draft, I think. That would be crazy. But moving on. We have the New York Yankees coming in at number 25. I don't think the Yankees really do anything crazy here. I just think they go best available. And I think they've been taking a lot of college hitters lately. I think they stick with college, but I think they go with a pitcher here. I think they go Gabriel Hughes. Gabriel Hughes, man, this is a guy. I talked about Cade Cavalli earlier. He kind of reminds me of that. Just a bigger stature guy out of Gonzaga. There's a lot to like about Gabriel Hughes. Big build. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He's only 20 years old, man. He's already that big. Are you kidding me? And he's young for a college pitcher. Very young for a college pitcher. A bit of aggression with that windup. I mean, if we take another look at the windup here, there's a lot going on there, but my goodness. He's a very competitive guy too, very intense. He's not going to throw a ton of velocity. He's got a good fastball, but a couple of years ago, he was only throwing 92, 93. He was 93 to 94 this past year. He was getting it up to over 97 at some points. He gets a lot of swing and misses. He's got some deception in that delivery, so it's kind of a funky delivery, but I think in the end, he'll end up being a pretty solid guy. And for the Yankees, again, they've gone position players lately. I think at this point, when you take a look at where he ranks, Gabriel Hughes right now is number 22 on Baseball America. So to get him at number 25, sounds like a pretty good value pick if you ask me. So moving on to number 26, we have the Chicago White Sox. Chicago White Sox, last year, they went with Montgomery as the number 1 pick, I think at number 22. This year, I think they reach a little bit. I think they go back to the high school ranks. They go back to the prep ranks. This guy kind of reminds me of Colson Montgomery a little bit, and that is Tucker Toman. They were connected a lot with Colson Montgomery last year, and they're also connected with Tucker Toman quite a bit as well. With Colson Montgomery, last year, I believe he was in the 30s and maybe even the 40s. And Tucker Toman, he's in that same spot, but he's got a good bat. He reminds me a lot of Colson Montgomery, high school player. Good bat, good hit tool, 55 hit, 55 power. Just not great in the field, not a very fast guy, got an okay arm. Reminds me a lot of Colson Montgomery. So let's go take a look here at the highlights. From the left side, he's got a pretty simple swing. Got a bit of a leg kick there, but he's a guy where if he gets into one, man, he's got a really nice follow through. He's got power, and he's got a pretty ferocious swing, man. Pretty nice swing. And I think for the White Sox, Tucker Toman, man, down the road can end up being a really solid player for them. Really just gets the barrel into it, man. Gets a lot of force into it. I love it. I think he's a really solid player. I think he's pretty underrated. Tucker Toman, man, I think he's going to be this year's Colson Montgomery like last year. So, moving on. We're almost done here. We got 4 more picks. At number 27, the Milwaukee Brewers will select Daniel Susac. This guy was ranked pretty high at one point. At some points, people were viewing Susac as possibly the better catcher in this draft. Now that title has gone to Kevin Perrotta, but as of right now, Susac is ranked number 11 coming out of Arizona. 55 hit, 55 power. The thing with Susac is he's a better defender than Perrotta. Perrotta is definitely way more bat. Perrotta is definitely the better bat than Susac, but Susac is better in the field and he has the better arm. So that is one thing to consider. Now, so you're probably wondering, well, why is he this low? So the thing with Susac is he kind of really struggled in the second half of last year. Got off to a really good start, but he slowed down the stretch. And there are some things where scouts are a little worried about. So if you take a look here, he's a long levered hitter. There is some swing and miss in his game. He struck out quite a bit the last couple of years. And again, he really struggled in the second half last year. He tends to chase a lot, so he really needs to work on that. Just the selection of what he's swinging at. So that is something to consider. But I think if you can clean up that part of his game, and with already the solid hitting that he has, or he has solid parts of his game already when it comes to the bat. He just needs to clean these little things up. He's already going to be pretty solid in the field. It says right here, Susac is one of the more divisive players at the top of the class. Some view him as an easy top 10, while others view him as more of the back of the first round. I've even seen some mock drafts where he's coming in anywhere from the 10 to 15 range, and I've seen some where he's coming in 25 to 30. I decided to go with the back end because I think there's just a lot more upside in this draft, and I think there's more safe college players, so that's why I have him this low. But I think for the Milwaukee Brewers, hey man, pretty solid guy that you can add here, a guy that's going to be, could end up being your future catcher down the road. There's a lot to like. There's enough to like with the bat already to where maybe you can hopefully work out the swing and miss in his game to get him to stop chasing. In the end, I think he can end up being a really solid player for the Milwaukee Brewers. And number 28, this is an interesting one. Why? Because this is the Houston Astros' first round pick since 2019. So at number 28, I think the Astros go with a pitcher. I think they go with a pitcher out of college. All right, this is our first pick for a couple of years. Let's keep it safe, all right? Let's go with a guy that we know could end up being something, and that is Blade Tidwell. I just love the name, Blade. I mean, what a cool name, man. What a cool name. But let's go take a look here. Coming out of Tennessee, a lot to like. A guy that's got some velocity. Man, oh man, let's go take a look at the highlights. Here we go. Blade Tidwell out of Tennessee. Pretty simple, clean delivery. Has a good strikeout to walk ratio. Doesn't walk a whole ton of guys. Gets a good amount of strikeouts compared to that. Throws upper 90s with the fastball. He's got a really good slider. Okay changeup. Below average curveball. But he's got a big frame, something that he still has some ceiling there despite being a college pitcher. He's 6'4", 200 pounds. You could definitely add a little bit more size to that frame, man. But overall, he's got a pretty clean delivery. Not a whole lot complicated going on there. He just needs to work on the command a little bit. He tends to give up some long balls here and there. He is prone to the home run ball at times. But he could end up being a pretty solid piece for the rotation at some point. But some scouts even think he could end up being a really good back end of the bullpen kind of a guy, So we'll have to wait and see. But I think for the Astros, could you go with a high upside guy? Sure. I guess just the way I'm thinking about it. All right, it's our first round pick here in a few years. Let's just go with a guy that we think we can work with. And I think Blade Tidwell, that's a guy out of Tennessee where I think could end up being a really good pick for them. So here we go. 2 picks away. We got the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays are always fun to look out for in this draft. And man, oh man, this is a pretty fun player. I could see this guy. When you're at this point in the draft, I mean, for me, honestly, anywhere in this draft, I'm just throwing names out there. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But based off of what the Rays like to do, and that's how I've gone about it with all these teams, where I look at, obviously the talent of the player, and I look at their draft history. The one thing the Rays like to do, they like to go with players that are athletes, guys that have a ton of upside where they can work on the mechanics with their swing, they can work on their mechanics with the pitching. And I see an offensive player for the Rays. He's a little down the board, but I wonder if the Rays end up taking this guy. Number 29, the Rays select Henry Bolt. Henry Bolt, man. Love the name, Henry Bolt. Let's go take a look here. There is a lot to like with him. If you give this guy some time to develop into something, oh my, he could end up being pretty decent. Let's go pull him up here. As of right now, on Baseball America, he is number 42. So they are reaching a little bit. He's out of California, outfielder. Taking a look here at the tools. If you look right there at the hit tool, it's a 40. So he's got a lot to work on. But look at all of this. 60 power, 60 run, 60 in the field, 60 with his arm. The tools are off the charts. He just needs to get the hit tool up. Just needs to get that hit tool up. Let's go take a look at some highlights here. There is a lot of potential with Henry Bolt, man. A lot of potential. He's got an aggressive swing. He gets a lot into it. When he makes contact, holy cow, this can end up like the ball goes like 5 miles. There's just some things you got to clean up with him. He's got a ton of bat speed, and he should get stronger. He's 6'3" already at 18 years old, but he definitely still has a lot of room to fill out. He has improved his plate discipline, but he still has a lot of swing and miss in his game. And his pitch recognition still isn't quite there. He tends to chase a lot. But there is a lot to like already with the bat speed. His upside alone is why I think the Rays end up taking him. I think he's one of the more interesting players to keep an eye out for in this draft. I think he fits a lot of what the Rays like to do. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Henry Bolt at number 29 for the Tampa Bay Rays. And we have reached the end, everyone. We have reached the end. The San Francisco Giants at number 30 to close out the first round of the 2022 MLB Draft. The San Francisco Giants select Dylan Beavers out of California. Dylan Beavers. What a name, man. What a name. Dylan Beavers. Gotta love this, man. As of right now, Dylan Beavers is ranked number 26 on Baseball America. Very similar to Henry Bolt, who we just looked at. Very similar, where good tools. 60 power, 60 run, 55 field, 60 arm, only a 40 hit. But he's a guy out of college, you know. He's a little more polished than someone like a Henry Bolt. But I think for the Giants, I think he fits a lot. And could maybe the Giants go with someone like a Henry Bolt? Absolutely. I think they could go with that too. Henry Bolt is someone out of California as well, so not too far away from San Francisco. Dylan Beavers went to college in California, so I don't know. But with him, there's some things where I've seen the Giants, they have worked with hitters that are struggling and they've gotten them back on track. Dylan Beavers is very toolsy. He's got loud tools, but his hitting ability is in question. He's constantly tinkering with his swing mechanics, and he struggles to be on time. His crowded setup and tight hand placement prevent him from getting the barrel out front and need to be revamped entirely. He's got good bat speed. He's got good hands. So, but the Giants, to me, seem like they could be that team where they could get this guy back on track, and he ends up going on to have a pretty good career with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, come on, you got to pick him for the name alone. Dylan Beavers. Are you kidding me? But let's review here. Let's review our draft. Let's review before I get out of here. Let's just do a recap, just in case you are just coming in. At number 1, I had the Orioles selecting Brooks Lee. And let me actually here, while I'm here, let me pull up the rankings on Baseball America, so that way you get an idea of maybe where exactly they're picking. So hold on a second. Let's get this here. Okay, so I'll go back and forth here. So at number 1, I have the Orioles selecting Brooks Lee. On Baseball America, Brooks Lee is ranked number 2 at the moment. So again, I have the Orioles going with him as more of like an underslot kind of a guy. Maybe they can get him a little cheaper. Could they end up just going with Drew Jones? I definitely think they could end up doing that. Why not? But I'm just kind of going with what Elias has done before. And I think he goes a little lower. So, but Brooks Lee, I have going number 1. At number 2, I have Termarr Johnson. I really love me some Termarr Johnson. As of right now, he is ranked number 4 on Baseball America. Again, I'm using the Baseball America rankings. At number 3, I have Drew Jones falling to the 3rd spot. Kind of like Marcelo Meyer last year. He was the number 1 player, and he ended up dropping a couple of spots. So I have the Texas Rangers selecting him. He is the number 1 overall player. At number 4, I have the Pirates selecting Cam Collier. Cam Collier is ranked number 7 as of right now on Baseball America. At number 5, I have the Nationals selecting Jackson Holliday. He is the number 3 player on Baseball America right now. At number 6, I have the Marlins selecting Jacob Berry. Jacob Berry, at the moment, is ranked number 8 on Baseball America. At number 7, I have the Cubs taking Kevin Perrotta. He is ranked number 6. At number 8, I have Gavin Cross going to the Minnesota Twins. Gavin Cross is ranked 10th on Baseball America. Elijah Green going number 9. Elijah Green is actually falling here a little bit. He was ranked number 5 on Baseball America, so he falls a little bit to the Kansas City Royals. At number 10, I have Jace Jung. He is ranked number 9. At number 11, I have Brock Porter going to the New York Mets. He is ranked number 12. At number 12, I have Justin Crawford going to the Detroit Tigers. Crawford is ranked, where are you, Mr. Justin Crawford? Justin Crawford is actually ranked 18th on Baseball America. So that would be a bit of a reach for the Detroit Tigers. At number 13, I have Cade Horton going to the Angels. Horton, as of right now, is ranked 23rd. So according to the Baseball America rankings, if you don't count Kumar Rocker, Cade Horton is the 2nd highest ranked college pitcher. So I have the Angels taking him at 13. Number 14, I have Jett Williams out of high school. Jett Williams is ranked number 15. So right around that draft spot. Number 15, I have Dylan Lesko. Lesko is ranked 13th overall in Baseball America. Number 16, one of my favorite players in this draft, Cooper Jerpy. Cooper Jerpy, I could say that name all day. Jerpy, as of right now, actually not ranked as high. Cooper Jerpy is ranked 32nd overall on Baseball America. And actually just going through his tools really quick. I really love the tools, man. 60 fastball, 50 slider, 55 changeup, and really good control. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier with him, but very good control, pinpoint control. Here we go. Moving on to number 17, we got Brandon Barrera. I think the Phillies, there's a lot of options they could go with here. Barrera right now is number 17 on Baseball America. Cole Young, I have going at 18, and he is ranked number 14. Number 19, I have Chase DeLauter. DeLauter is ranked number 19 as well. Number 20, I have Connor Prelip on Baseball America. He is ranked, where are you, Connor Prelip? I cannot find. He is ranked 37th overall. I feel like he's starting to gain some steam, according to the reports out there. I think he goes to the Atlanta Braves. Number 21, I have Zach Nato. He's actually falling a little bit here. He's at number 16 on Baseball America. At number 22, I have Drew Gilbert going to, remember I got that backwards. Number 22, I have Brock Jones going to the Cardinals. And then at number 23, I have Drew Gilbert going to the Blue Jays. Number 24, I got Kumar Rocker going to the Red Sox. And actually, Kumar Rocker, on the overall rankings on Baseball America, he is ranked 20th. So just taking a look at his tools really quick. Fastball 60, slider at 70, changeup 55, a 50 cutter, 50 control. Love me some Kumar Rocker for the Boston Red Sox. Let's make it happen. Hyde Bloom, where are you at? Number 25, I got Gabriel Hughes. Hughes is the top-ranked college pitcher on Baseball America at number 22. Number 26, I have Tucker Tillman going to the Chicago White Sox. Tucker Tillman, as of right now, he is ranked number 40. At number 27, I got Daniel Susac. He is ranked number 12. Blade Tidwell to the Astros at number 28. He is ranked number 29. At number 29, I have Henry Bolt going to the Rays. And I think he was at number 42. And then last but not least, Dylan Beavers at number 30. Dylan Beavers is ranked number 26. Everyone, that's my mock draft for this year. Probably none of them are going to be right. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But Sunday night, we are going to be live. We are going to be watching the draft. I'm going to be reacting to every single pick. So make sure you're here Sunday night. I'm not going to do power rankings this Sunday. I might do them on Monday. I don't know. I might not do power rankings this week just because we have the draft on Sunday night. We've got the home run derby. I believe that's on Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember the day, but it doesn't feel like a good week, with all the festivities going on. Probably won't do the power rankings this week, but I will definitely be live for the draft. So please be here Sunday night. We'll be watching. We'll be hanging out. Make sure you bring your popcorn and your Dr. Pepper. It's going to be a fun time. Everyone, on the way out, if you can, hit that like button for me. Where are we at with the likes? We ended up getting to 122 likes. If you haven't hit it already, hit it for me. But everyone, thank you for coming out tonight. I really do appreciate it. I put a lot of hard work into that, so it was nice to see all of you come out tonight. Really do appreciate it. But have yourself a great night, and I'll talk to you next time.